so let's be like Manjushri, approach living beings with an attitude of compassion and aspiration to work for their long-time welfare. And to do this especially by sharing the Dharma, but also by how we act in our daily life, how we speak, how we think. There's many ways to share the Dharma and encourage people in virtuous actions. So the next couple of hours, let's learn about the ultimate nature of reality so that we can remove our ignorance that brings so much suffering to ourselves and to the world. So I know it's retreat time, many of you are not reading the news, but what is happening in the country is very frightening. Trump and Elon are being like bulls in a china shop, exerting their power wherever they can and dismantling the federal government and a lot of very good policies that benefit the citizens here and that help people in other countries as well. And the kind of comments, I mean, I have to just tell you the latest one. And I'm doing this not so that we get political, but to illustrate how when we have an uncontrolled mind, a mind that's overwhelmed by ignorance, anger, attachment, jealousy, and arrogance, how what we do harms not only ourselves but others. Okay, so as you know about, what's been going on in Gaza, and that the Israeli bombing has really destroyed so many buildings and left the area, in shambles. So Trump was meeting with Netanyahu, and Trump said that he thinks that, Gaza isn't very good for the Gazans, for the Palestinians, so they should leave, and they should leave, and Jordan and Egypt and other countries should take them in so that all the Palestinians are out of Gaza. And then the U.S. will come in and own the area and transform it into to another Riviera on the Mediterranean. And if he needs to use the U.S. military to do that, he will do that. Cuckoo. Yeah. It's the kind of stuff that, it's like what the late night comedians do. This is what the president's saying, except he means it, and he's, is crazy, and he's dismantling or severely impairing the actions of USAID, the humanitarian organization established by Congress to, give aid to other countries and people in difficult situations in other parts of the world. And he has dismissed, Elon's friends, some young men who are friends of his, went into the U.S. aid office and demanded to know, how to get into the computer system. The guys in charge refused, so they got laid off, they got fired, and Eon's guys are in there, and their computer. No, this was with the Treasury Department that he did this. So Eon's guys want to do code, and then they will have access to millions and millions of people's private information, which is stored in the Treasury Department for Social Security and Medicare and Medicaid and everything else. And then they also went into the U.S. Aid Department and fired those guys. And there's 10,000 U.S. Aid employees in other countries, and they have to come home to America, and the contractors and everybody else is put on leave, in temporary leave, which means basically to them that you're fired. Completely, just trampling like a bull in a china shop. Institutions in the country that have worked, that has served the nation and, benefited people worldwide.
And Congress is sitting?
Huh?
Congress is watching this?
Congress, yes, who established U.S. aid, and legally Trump should not be able to dismantle it because it was established by Congress. How funds are distributed is established by Congress, but Trump doesn't like it, so he goes into the middle of these departments and, creates havoc. And the Republicans in Congress they're so polite and so accommodating. Yeah, they don't criticize, because after all, he was elected by the people. And they're afraid that he will primary them. In other words, put somebody even more loyal to him in the primary election, so that they will lose their job. Yeah. And the Democrats are speaking out a bit, but they're in the middle of criticizing themselves still about why did we lose this election. Instead of, and everybody's saying the Democrats have no connection with the people, they don't know what they're doing, the election shows that they're not communicating with people. So that is fostering more of that idea when the press says that, and when some of the Dems themselves say that. So we are living in the era of the 5 degenerations. Yeah? If you don't believe it, just read the paper. So in the times of the 5 generation, this is the time when we have to take harm into our practice and see it as the ripening of karma we ourselves created, and having compassion for people who don't seem to be able to think about the future in a productive way or care for other living beings, who don't seem aware that everything we have and everything we know depends on the kindness of others. And so harming others is just going to create more pain for yourselves. So, we're surrounded by people who think like that. And we ourselves may think like that. So we have to see where we do and, root out our own instincts for power and, I'm gonna get my way, I'm gonna get my way, and not caring what we do to get our way, because this is, if you look at it, it's all a show. It's a Dharma teaching about the defects of the self-centered thought and what happens when we have a mind that's uncontrolled and just overwhelmed by attachment, anger, especially greed for money, power, not caring about others, not caring about ethical conduct or societal norms. So, so this is a teaching about why we need to practice. Yeah? And, we need to write to our Congress people and encourage them. Yeah, because they're the people who have the power right now to do something. Yeah. I was thinking, well, you could organize a demonstration. Yeah, so we'll all go out to Spokane in the snow. And how many people will join us? Well, how many of us are willing to go out in the snow? A few. But, if it were better weather, then... But, what can we do? Are we going to drop things and go run for office? Yeah. Who said that? Yeah. Okay. So you want to be a U.S. congressman? Yeah.
I read this morning, there's a group, I forget what their name is, I'm so sorry, but they called a Zoom meeting, and 4 hours before it was supposed to happen on yesterday or the day before, and they got 50,000 people.
Oh my
50,000
goodness.
people.
Wow. What was the Zoom meeting about?
About what are we going to do to mobilize. This is the same group that really mobilized to get Biden in. I forget the name, and that guy that runs it, he's really good. Anyhow, so it's starting to move now. So,
Yeah, I don't think people expected the changes to happen so fast. He said what he was going to do, except he hadn't really said he was going to kick all the Palestinians out and take over Gaza. He hadn't really said that before. But, many of the changes to the U.S., he said he was going to do. And now he's doing them. And, people expected this, but not in the first 2 weeks. Yeah, not doing so much every single day, creating more confusion, more havoc. But this is Donnie's MO. Yeah, this is what he likes doing, is creating havoc. Because when everybody's confused, then he has a lot of power and nobody will challenge him. Because the people can't get together. Everybody's just going, what just hit us? So, sometimes spiritual mentors, will create confusion too. But I think they do so because it's, the disciples have to learn to cooperate and learn to get over some things, and but I don't think that that's Donnie's motivation. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
What's so disturbing for me, it's like he's declared war on compassion.
Yeah.
He's going after the most vulnerable, the most suffering groups already, and it's sending like a big message that mercy, compassion is not good.
Yeah.
And it's just like, who does that? I haven't seen it so blatant and so consistent.
Yeah.
And the other candidate, she mentioned compassion during her campaign, and people were saying, wow, it's the first time anyone has mentioned compassion. And it's like, well, there's another group out there who's actively against compassion.
Compassion, yeah.
And to me, that's kind of new.
Yeah. Yeah, if you study world history, it's not new. Yeah. Because this is the problem of having minds overwhelmed by afflictions, is compassion becomes taboo. Yeah. But so now we're going to learn how to overcome our own self-grasping. Yeah. That says, me, my way, or the highway, I can't take over Gaza, but I'm going to take over the infrastructure team and the publicity team, and, not take it over doesn't mean I'm going to do the work. I'm just going to kick all those people out and bring in people who are loyal to me, like Mudita, Upekkha, Maitri, and Karuna. And they will do what I say because I feed them. Yeah?
They won't plunge the toilet.
What?
They won't plunge the toilet.
And-
You have to put
Oh.
someone else.
Yeah. So, yeah, people have their own little empires, yeah, and it mobilizes everybody to, assert their power over their little empire. Yeah. So, who's ever leading the Chenrezig retreat? Who's ever leading the Vajrasattva retreat? Venerable Jigme is going to go into the next session. Yeah. Venerable Losang is going to go into the barn and, okay, not the barn, the tool shop, the workshop. Okay, mice, get out of here. We're evicting you. Yeah, and human beings who think that they know what they're doing, yeah, go shovel some snow. Yeah. And clean up this workshop. Oh, is that what he tells you?
That's what everyone tells me.
Oh.
I'm not so mean.
Ah. Okay. So let's see, essence of the Heart Sutra. Okay. So we are on page. Now give me the PDF page. 44. Okay. Page 38 in the booklet. Okay, so we're on the section called the 8 Aspects of Emptiness. So the text of the Heart Sutra then presents what are called the 8 aspects of the profound. Okay. Therefore, Shariputra, all phenomena are empty. They are without defining characteristics. They are not born. They do not cease. They are not defiled. They are not undefiled. They are not deficient. And they are not complete. What in the world is he talking about? Yeah. Things are without defining characteristics. They do not arise. Wait, they have characteristics, and they do arise, and they do cease. What's this nonsense? Yeah? Okay. So we'll get in. His Holiness is going to explain that. So defining characteristics in this passage refers to both the universal qualities of phenomena, such as their being impermanent and being empty. Okay, so that applies to all phenomena. And those are the universal characteristics. And the specific characteristics of any given phenomena, such as the characteristics, say, of a particular apple. Okay, so it's not even apples in general. Yeah, it's the particular apple because its specific characteristics is, it has red on one side and kind of a yellowish on another, and it's this size, and things unique to that particular apple. Whereas that apple has general characteristics shared by all apples, and also by all the rhinoceros and the hippopotamus and and orangutans. Yeah. That I'm speaking Singlish. Yeah, you can make fun of my English too. It's okay. Yeah. Okay, so those are the general and specific characteristics. Okay, both kinds of characteristics exist on the conventional level. Okay, and indeed we define all phenomena by means of such characteristics. Yeah, this is pink, this makes a nice sound, this is red, these kinds of things. So we define things by their characteristics. But those characteristics are not the inherent nature of those objects, okay? So they are not what the object is, and the characteristics themselves are, are things that arise and cease and, perform functions. They aren't things that are independent of everything else. Yeah? Okay, emptiness doesn't perform a function, but impermanence certainly does. Yeah? Okay, so we define all phenomena, people and phenomena, by means of such characteristics, but they do not exist in the absolute sense as the ultimate nature of things and events and people and phenomena. Okay? So, the ultimate nature of the computer is not its impermanence. Sometimes it seems like the ultimate nature of the computer is not non-cooperation, yeah, or impermanence, like closing files when I'm in the middle of working on them, or typing the keys that I didn't push. No, it does that. And not doing what I tell. I do oh, see, I did that? And I didn't mean to change the page, and it just changed the pages. The computer should do what I say. It should know what I think. Okay, now I have to find where I am again. Here. Okay. Yeah, so these are not the ultimate nature of the apple is not that it's red. Okay. Yeah. When you search for what is an apple, you don't find impermanence. You don't find redness. Yeah. So the text goes on to say concerning all phenomena that they are not born, they do not cease. It's important to understand that phenomena do come into being and have origination. Arising and ceasing are characteristics of all phenomena. Not all phenomena, because emptiness is a phenomena, but arising and ceasing are not characteristics of emptiness, because emptiness is permanent, and there's other permanent phenomena. Okay, so I'm not criticizing what His Holiness says. I'm saying that the editor goofed or should have put a footnote in or something. Okay, so arising and ceasing are characteristics of all conditioned phenomena, but these characteristics do not exist as the ultimate nature of these phenomena. Again, from the perspective of a person immersed in the direct realization of emptiness, characteristics such as arising and ceasing are not found. Yeah, because that mind is seeing the ultimate nature, and these characteristics are not the ultimate nature. Okay, now you might say, but isn't emptiness the ultimate nature of phenomena? Yeah. No, it's not. But when you analyze what is the apple, you come up with the emptiness of the apple. So isn't emptiness in general called characteristics of phenomena? I think you could say the emptiness of the apple is the ultimate nature of phenomena. It is a characteristic of the apple, but it's seen as a characteristic only on the conventional level when we're talking about the apple, okay? Because to identify the apple on a conventional level, to describe it conventionally, it's impermanent, it's red except for the green apples, you know, it's hard and crunchy except for the old apples, you know, and so there's, you know, different characteristics among the group and so on. Yeah, but so the emptiness of the apple is the ultimate nature of the apple, I think you would say. Okay. But when somebody is having direct realization of emptiness, all they see is emptiness. And they may have started out by meditating on the emptiness of the apple, but when they have direct realization, it's direct realization of the emptiness of all phenomena. Okay, yeah, when it's direct realization. This insight is reiterated in Nagarjuna's salutation verse at the beginning of the Fundamentals of the Middle Way, where we read, and here is what Nagarjuna says, "He who taught dependent arising, no cessation and no origination, or no arising, no annihilation and no permanence, no coming and no going, neither different nor same. This through calming, this thorough calming of conceptual elaborations, to you who is supreme speaker among the fully awakened Buddhas, I pay homage." Okay, so he's paying homage to the Buddha who realized this, yeah? So here Nagarjuna pays homage to the Buddha for teaching that a dependent arising thing lacks a characteristics inherently, okay, and is thereby free from inherent existence. These 8 characteristics do exist as qualities of phenomena on the conventional level. That is, phenomena are conventionally, they do conventionally arise, and they do conventionally cease. Okay, and some phenomena are different from others conventionally, and some look the same to others conventionally. But none of these characteristics exist as the ultimate nature of any phenomena. Okay. Okay, on the ultimate level, there is only absence of these characteristics, namely absence of inherently existent cessation, absence of defilement, absence of non-defilement, absence of decrease, absence of increase, okay? So on the ultimate level, that's all we find is the absence of these things, yeah? Because they do not inhere in the objects. Okay, they are the defining characteristics. I mean, you can't say you have an apple that's permanent. Yeah, no, apples have to be impermanent to exist. Well, then, isn't it a defining characteristic of an apple, because you can't have an apple without it being impermanent? Yeah, that sounds like a good argument, doesn't it? So it's a defining characteristic on the conventional level, but when you probe to see what an apple actually is, you do not find just the characteristic of impermanence. Okay? So it's this kind of thing. What I think is quite interesting, absence of defilement, absence of non-defilement. Okay, when you get really down on yourself and you're going, oh, I have so many defilements, my mind is so crazy, I can't do anything right. Yeah, then you start to think as if, first of all, your defilements were, inherently existent, and they are your ultimate nature. Who am I down deep when you tear away all the facades I put on? I'm a lousy, stinking, selfish person. That's who I am. Yeah. Oh, well, sorry, but you're contradicting what Avalokiteshvara, and by extension the Buddha, are saying here. Okay, that is not your ultimate nature. If it were your ultimate nature, yeah, then you would be independent of all other things, yeah, which would mean that you could never change, and we know that you can change, yeah. And it would never mean that your bad characteristics could increase or decrease. So your bad ones increase and decrease sometimes, but you also know that your good ones, your good characteristics increase, and they can decrease when you don't support them, okay? So, yeah, we have to know how to understand these things. Otherwise, we get quite confused, yeah? So just remember, conventional means daily life things, how we function when we use words and concepts and to communicate with other people, yeah. We may define words in a dictionary, but that is not the inherent meaning of the word, because if we had defined it differently, it would have a different meaning. And when you look up a word in the dictionary, it has many different meanings. If the word were inherently existent, it could only have one meaning, because you can only have one final nature, So this is important, when you get down on yourself and think, oh, this is all I am. It's not who you are, Okay, these are characteristics that arise and cease, and your present bad mood is a characteristic that arises and it ceases. Okay, yeah. Try sitting there and just focusing without any distraction on what a horrible person you are. You can't think about anything else. How long can you keep your mind on that? If it were inherently existent, you would never get distracted. You could just place your mind on how much you hate yourself and never get distracted by that. But I guarantee that you get distracted even when you're sitting there putting yourself down. Don't you? Yeah. You look outside and, oh, it's snowing. That's a distraction. Go back to hating yourself. Don't get distracted by looking at the snow. Yeah. Go back to your mantra of, I'm so terrible, I'm so horrible. This is my ultimate nature. No, sorry, it's not. These things arise and they cease. Why? Because they're under the influence of other phenomena. If something is under the influence of other phenomena, it does not have its own inherent nature. Okay, so what is your self-hatred under the influence of? Yeah, it's under the influence of your ignorance. Okay, it's under the influence of anger. Yeah. It's under the influence of what we call inappropriate attention. Okay? So if something is under the influence of something else, and those are things that make the self-disparagement arise, then those are things that do not have their own nature, and they are not our nature. Yeah. If you were inherently like that, you could never be kind. Now, I know when you're depressed, you tell yourself you're never kind, and I'm sorry to contradict you, but you're wrong on that. Okay? You're wrong. You are wrong. Yeah. Why? Because everybody has kindness in them. Yeah. Everybody has love. Everybody has compassion. All these good qualities, they are in us. They aren't fully developed at this moment, but they're there. Okay? So, so when you are down on yourself, don't just sit there and take that as a given. That's who I am, that's how I'm always going to feel. Okay, because that is, to put it mildly, okay, you got me? I'm being very polite today, but it is. So just, apply these teachings to what's going on with you, yeah? So there's no defilement, there's no non-defilement, yeah? And sorry, you aren't who you think you are. Yeah, which is great. Just because you think something doesn't mean it exists. This is who you think you are doesn't mean you are. Because sometimes we go to the other extreme, and I am the best one, and I'm going to take over Gaza and make it into a Mediterranean Riviera and get everybody out because I am I. Yeah? So we go to the other extreme. Yeah. So if you think that you're sane, if we have conventional sanity and insanity. From a Buddhist perspective, we are all nutty. Yeah. We think permanent things are we think impermanent things are permanent. We think things that are foul are beautiful. We think things that are dukkha by nature are bliss. We think things that don't have a self have a self. I mean, we are cuckoo. Yeah. Yeah, but when we're arrogant, we don't see we're cuckoo. Yeah, and when we're depressed, we don't see that we have the Buddha nature. Okay, let's go on. Okay, so these 8 characteristics can be grouped into 3 categories, each examining emptiness from a different perspective. These 3 perspectives are called the 3 doors of liberation. If we look at emptiness from the point of view of the thing itself, we see that all phenomena are empty of inherent nature and empty of self-defining characteristics. So seeing this is the first door of liberation, the door of emptiness, how we see things now. If we look at emptiness from the point of view of its cause, we see that it is unborn and unceasing, not defiled and not undefiled. So we can't make emptiness into an inherently existing good thing. Emptiness simply lacks any defining nature like that. Okay, but it's also not contaminated either. Okay, so if we look at emptiness from the viewpoint of its cause, we see it is unborn and unceasing, not defiled and not undefiled. So this is the second door of emptiness, the door of signlessness. So here he's using it to look at emptiness itself, but you can also use that to look at other phenomena. What is the table? Good morning. Wake up. Come on. Come on. You can do it. That's very good. Yes, me and my computer. Okay, so we can apply these things to all phenomena. He's using emptiness as an example. Okay. Okay, so that's the second door of liberation, the door of signlessness. If we look at emptiness from the point of view of its effects, we see that there is no deficiency and no completeness. So emptiness does not lack anything. It is not complete with everything. This is the third door of liberation, the door of wishlessness. These 3 doors are, in actuality, 3 ways of understanding the same thing. In this case, emptiness. The scriptures state that the wisdom that realizes emptiness is the one true door, the only way we can become completely free from the grasp of ignorance and the suffering that it causes. Okay? Yeah? Oh, okay.
I can see how with the second and third, how you can look at a compounded phenomena and say we're going to look at its causes and its effects, but here we're talking about a permanent phenomena that shouldn't have a cause or an effect.
Right.
So what is going on with that? how are we talking about the cause of emptiness or the effect
Well,
of
it's saying
emptiness?
there's no cause and there's no effect. Those are not characteristics of emptiness. Yeah. And yeah, they're not characteristics of emptiness. They are not ultimately the characteristics of conditioned phenomena either. Okay. Yeah.
Huh? It's only conventionally for the compounded phenomena they are,
Yeah.
but for the permanent phenomena they're not.
Yeah.
So looking at the Heart Sutra and then looking at the quote from Nagarjuna here, it doesn't seem like the 8 things are entirely the same. Is there actually a one-to-one mapping between these two lists? I checked on the Tibetan is different too, so it's not just translation.
What do you mean?
Well, so for Nagarjuna's list, it says no coming, no going, neither different nor same.
Yeah.
And then in the Heart Sutra, in His Holiness's book, it says the not deficient and not complete, while the translation we typically use actually says no decrease.
Yeah, it's
and no
different
increase.
translations.
Okay, I
Yeah.
guess I'm not sure what deficient and complete is referring to then here.
Okay, deficient, I mean, I don't know exactly either how they're defining it here. Is it's a different Tibetan word or it's the same Tibetan word? But because, I mean, you have what Nagarjuna said, then are we just talking about different ways of translating what Nagarjuna said?
I guess I'm not sure that we are. It seems like in the Tibetan, it's where the English really doesn't match, the Tibetan doesn't match either, but I don't know if the Sanskrit actually did.
I'm sorry, I don't understand your question. Doesn't match what?
I'm trying to understand how
How these apply to the 3 doors of...
Well, right, because it's like there's the decrease and increase in the Heart Sutra, and
Yeah.
then Nagarjuna's part was talking about coming and going, neither different nor same. And I just didn't know if these are referring to the same things or different things, let alone what complete and deficient means. I'm just very confused.
Yeah, just all those characteristics are not the ultimate nature of any phenomena. Okay? Whether it's deficient or inefficient, different or same, none of them are the ultimate nature of any phenomena. Okay? And, here when he's talking about the 3 doors to liberation, there's different terms, okay? I don't know if these are different Tibetan terms from Nagarjuna and in how this is done, or if this translator just didn't check things or what's going on. I can't say, yeah. But I do know that many of these verses, when they're translated by different people, you wind up with wildly different translations that sometimes make you go, is this the same verse? Yeah? Okay, and the next. These 3 doors are in actuality 3 ways of understanding the same thing, emptiness. The scriptures state that the wisdom that realizes emptiness is the one true door, the only way we can become completely free from the grasp of ignorance and the dukkha that it causes. Okay, so that's the end of that chapter. Now we're at chapter 7. Okay, page 47. So this chapter is called Attaining the Result, and we're on the section called The Emptiness of All Phenomena. Okay, yeah, because, I can say, reading through this, and I don't know Tibetan very well, but I know many of the concepts, and I have certain translation terms I prefer, that many things here, I would write it very differently than the way it's been written. I mean, number one, things and events, I would just say phenomena. Yeah, I think saying things and events is confusing, but Jimbo, who translated it that way, thinks that it makes it clearer what phenomena are. Yeah, so everybody, yes, we all think differently. Imagine that, yeah. And we change our minds. Yeah. But getting certain translators to change their minds in using a different term, I think that's the one permanent phenomena. Yeah. Yeah. Okay, so His Holiness says, let us return to the text of the Heart Sutra. Therefore, Shariputra, in emptiness, there is no form, no feelings, no discriminations, no compositional factors, no consciousness. There is no eye, no ear, no nose, no tongue, no body, no mind. There is no form, no sound, no smell, no taste, no texture, no tactile object, no mental objects. There is no I element and so forth, up to no mind element, including up to no element of mental consciousness. Okay. So if you like lists, Buddhism is the philosophy for you. There are lots of lists and categories, and you can really have so much fun making spreadsheets and charts out of them. Yeah? I mean, what Geshe Tafke did on Monday, I want to go through and make a chart out of that, because he took the 4 fearlessnesses and the lines of that one stanza from the Sutra of Dependent Arising and the 4 truths, and he made all these correlations. Yeah, and it needs a chart. Yeah. So you can do a spreadsheet. Is a spreadsheet different than a chart? They have different names.
They have different characteristics.
Oh, and they have different characteristics. Okay, are they deficient or complete? It depends. If you want to make a carrot cake, a spread chart is deficient. Unless you want to put a spread did I say spread chart? Yes. See, so I'm acting in harmony. Yeah, I'm trying to harmonize things that are disharmonious. Yeah, give me some credit. Yeah. Yeah, so you have spread charts and bed sheets. What do you... Okay. Okay. So the first sentence, His Holiness says, reaffirms the emptiness of the 5 aggregates. So the 5 aggregates, are one way to categorize all impermanent phenomena. Okay? And these, it's an expansive way to categorize all impermanent phenomena, but so often when we talk about the 5 aggregates, we're talking about the constituents of a person. Yeah, the basis of designation upon which you impute person, the 5 aggregates. But those 5 aggregates are different than the 5 aggregates in general. Yeah, I mean, this is part of the aggregate of form, but it's not part of the basis of imputation of a person. Although AI people would like it to be. Sorry, it's not. Okay. Yeah, they want a computer to be the basis of imputation of a person, artificial intelligence. Look, if it's artificial, it is not intelligent. Okay. So So the first sentence reaffirms the emptiness of the 5 aggregates, yeah? While the next sentence extends this emptiness to the 6 faculties. So here the faculties are the sense powers, which are the very subtle form which helps cognition to occur, okay? So no eye, no ear, no nose, no tongue, no body, no mind. Okay, so the eye sense faculty, that subtle form in the eye, it's not talking about the eyeball, probably something like the rods and cones and the back of the eyeball, maybe something like that. No ear, it's not talking about, this, it's talking about, maybe the hammer and stirrup, yeah, in anvil and ham and stirrup, yeah, and the center part of your ear. Okay, no taste, talking about the taste buds, not just, I'm sorry, no nose, it's not talking about, you had a nose job or something. Yeah, it's talking about the subtle things in the nose. Same with the tongue, same with the body, yeah. No mind, the faculty for that is the sense faculty of the mind is referring to the consciousnesses, the previous consciousnesses. Let's say you had you saw yellow, then that's your visual consciousness. Then your mental consciousness starts thinking, oh, I saw yellow, I like this shade of yellow, let's make all of our robes that shade of yellow, that kind of thing, okay? So that's the mental faculty. The subsequent sentence extends emptiness further to external objects. Yeah, so the sensory bases that are form, sound, smell, taste, texture, and texture. Now, it's not just texture, it's tactile objects. Texture is rough and smooth, but hunger and thirst are tactile objects. Yeah, hot and cold are tactile objects. Yeah, then you do have, rough and smooth, and you have hard and soft, okay? So it's not just texture. See, this is translation problem. We don't have a good English word that encompasses everything that our tactile consciousness can perceive. Yeah, and just calling it a tactile consciousness, somebody's going to go, well, I smell things, but I don't touch them, so how is it tactile? Well, yeah, it's not tactile, but, it is, you're smelling things. Okay. Yeah, because the tactile consciousness is everywhere. Okay. Okay, so there's no form, no sound, no smell, no taste, no tactile objects, no mental objects. The final sentence extends this still further to the emptiness of the 18 elements. Okay, the 18 elements are when you have a sense object, a sense faculty, and a sense consciousness. Here, mental consciousness is called a sense consciousness, okay? Or we just say a consciousness. We have, a faculty, an object, and a consciousness. So since there's 6 senses, visual, auditory, olfactory, gustatory, tactile, mental, times 3, then you get the 18 elements, also translated as the 18 constituents, also translated as the 18, who knows whatever other term they use, okay? So then here all of these are getting negated on the ultimate level, that when you search for what these things are, you can't find an inherent nature, And when you're perceiving emptiness directly, these kinds of objects don't appear. Yeah, because they exist only conventionally. All phenomena, including non-composite or permanent phenomena such as space, are included within these categories, not within the 5 aggregates. Okay. Thus, all phenomena are devoid of inherent existence. The text then reads, there is no ignorance, there is no extinction of ignorance, and so forth, up to no aging and death, and no extinction of aging and death. So again, our translation is a bit different. Yeah, so what is this talking about? Do these sound familiar? What are they? The 12 links. Okay. So the whole process of being reborn in samsara again and again does not exist inherently. The whole process of eliminating all the elements of samsara, that also does not exist inherently. Yeah. And when you're abiding in a direct realization of emptiness, all these things don't appear. Okay, so when you're perceiving emptiness, if you think, oh, now I'm free of samsara, you are not having a direct perception of emptiness because you are now perceiving freedom from samsara, except you aren't free from samsara. So instead of because just having one instance of a direct realization doesn't free you from samsara forever. We have to really familiarize the mind with it again and again and again. So this is a summary negation of the 12 links of dependent origination in accordance with their sequence of evolution within the chain of unenlightened or samsaric existence. Although just 2 are mentioned specifically, okay, ignorance and aging and death, yeah, the implication and so on is to be read as negating all 12 of the links. Okay, so first, ignorance, formative action. What's 3? Consciousness. 4, Neumann form. 5, the 6 sources. 6, contact. 7, feeling. 8, craving. Grasping, or I like to translate it as clinging. 10, becoming. That's not a good translation. Renewed existence. Yeah, renewed existence. 11, rebirth, or birth. 12, aging and death. Okay. So those are the 12. So it just abbreviates all of them. But when you're doing a real thorough meditation on emptiness, you go through each one of these and reflect on how it has no inherent existence. And just the fact that it's the 12 links and one link gives rise to the next one, and each link comes as a result of the former ones, that already is showing that the links are dependent, and anything that's dependent cannot have its own inherent nature. Because if it has its own inherent nature, that's what it is, just magically, permanently, it has that nature, nothing caused it, so it doesn't interact with any other phenomena. It can't interact with anything else. Okay, yeah.
I have this question, why aging and death is just taken as one?
The what?
Aging and death.
Yeah.
Why it's only taken as one? I mean, what is not aging one and death?
Oh,
Another
why
one?
is it put together?
Yeah.
Because the moment after we're born, we are in the process of aging, going towards death. We are from the moment we arise, we are in the process of dying, aging and dying. So they're put together. Okay? Like right now, of the 12 in our present life, this cycle of 12 links, who knows what we did in the past and the ignorance and whatever afflictions arose, whatever actions we did, seeds planted on the consciousness and so on, and then taking birth. Yeah, but from the moment we take birth, aging, going towards death, or aging and dying, we can say. Yeah.
So birth shouldn't be in the same category, birth, aging, and death?
Oh, no, because you can categorize things whatever way you want, but the reason for categorizing them this way is to show arising and ceasing. Yeah. You can put things together however you want, but the way we categorize any kind of list, the way we categorize it is it emphasizes different points, what we include in that category. Yeah. Like you say orange, okay? So somebody gave us a lot of oranges. Yeah. When you say oranges, does it include tangerines and tangelos? If you don't know what a tangelo is, then you would say somebody gave us a bunch of oranges because you've never seen a tangelo and it looks like an orange. Yeah. So, how we categorize things, how we give names to things, this is just showing how fluid it all is, that nothing has its own inherent name or its own inherent definition, yeah. Because if it did, we would all know exactly what other people meant when they said different words. But we don't. We just get some general idea. Yeah, like somebody says, I'm happy. Yeah. Do you know exactly how that person feels when they say, I'm happy? Yeah. Is it a giddy happiness? Is it a peaceful happiness? Is it a relief from pain? There's many kinds of happiness. When they say, I'm happy, which one are they talking about? Yeah, well, they're just saying, I'm happy. That's okay, you understand. If you go then, what kind of happiness, then they're going to start finding another term to define the specific kind of happiness. This is the happiness of revenge. Then you go, what happiness? Okay. Yeah. People are very confused about what happiness is and what causes it. Okay. Yeah?
I was just thinking about like a name like hot or cold, like, if I think, oh, I'm cold, then I'm cold, but if I think, if I question what cold is, it's like focusing on the temperature. I don't like to look at the forecast or look at the thermometer, because then that affirms the reality. I create my own reality.
Yeah.
Yeah, just by
exactly.
name.
Yep.
Just by a number or a name.
Yep. Yep. And some people, like when you talk about different illnesses, some people, they know something's wrong, but when they get a diagnosis with a name, it's like, oh, that's relief. Now we know what it is. Yeah? Actually, they don't really know anything more. I mean, their symptoms don't change, yeah. But when they know what it is, they may emphasize in their mind the symptoms because, oh, I have that disease, oh, therefore, yeah, oh, I really do feel like this. And, kind of there's a tingling in my little toe, and that's a description of this disease, yeah. So now I'm focusing, yeah, there's a tingling in my little toe. Let's check the other little toe. Yeah, there too. And all of a sudden, you're focusing on your little toes because you got a diagnosis.
It's like permanence gives us our mind's comfort because that's the way we naturally think.
In one way, it gives us comfort. In another way, it traps us. Because once we give that cohort of symptoms a name, then we stop looking at what else it could be or what else is going on in the person that is out of sync. We stop looking because now we have a definition. So designating things in one way is a very good way of communicating, and it can be a relief to give some understanding when you have a definition of it, but it can also imprison you to just thinking within the box of that definition. Yeah. And that's so often what we do.
The worst example of that is people with mental illness that get a diagnosis. Then everybody relates to them that way. And then the system relates to them that way, especially when they call it chronic. And then a person is just in prison. And to help them break out of that is so difficult. That is their identity.
It becomes your identity.
Yes, it's terrible.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, I do want to finish this section, but yeah, you have a question? This will be the last question for this round of questions until after I finish the section.
I just wanted to say I've been thinking about this in sense of what we call pleasure and what we call unpleasant.
Yeah.
Because we label something as pleasurable, and then we're happy because we have it, even though there's no real pleasure coming from it.
Yeah.
I have a friend who's allergic to dairy, but always when the kids got treats, they got ice cream. So she loved ice cream even though it made her sick every time. And later as an adult, she recognized that I was just told this was pleasure, and and so she stopped eating it and realized it wasn't bringing her pleasure,
Yeah.
But we label our feelings. Our discrimination and our feelings come up together at the same time from contact.
Yeah.
And so,
Yeah, there's many things that we label pleasure, but if you actually look, that sensation is not pleasurable. Yeah, because your mind gets restless, and your mind is like, more. That's not a pleasurable mind. But you think what you want more of is the pleasure. But it's not. If you're sitting there going, more, it's not pleasurable, is it? Because that grasping mind, is quite unhappy. Okay, I know you went to sleep. It's time to wake up. Okay, so the negation of these 12 links describes the process of attaining nirvana. So negation, what he means is not the negation of analyzing emptiness. It's the undoing of that. It's the cutting off of each thing. So translation. Okay, so the absence, the cutting off, of each of the 12 links describes the process of attaining nirvana. Although both the process of taking rebirth in cyclic existence and the process of gaining freedom from it do exist on the conventional level, they do not exist on the ultimate level. Thus, they are negated here. Okay, so negated meaning you've seen their emptiness, And by seeing their emptiness, then you can begin the process of undoing them. So the term negating has different meanings depending on the context, depending on what you're negating. Okay. The text goes on to read, likewise, there is no suffering, origin, cessation, or path. What are those? Okay, the four truths. There is no wisdom, no attainment, or even no non-attainment. Okay, no suffering. Oh, that's great. Yeah, there's no suffering. Yeah? What drug have you been taking? And actually, when you're taking the drug, you're still suffering. Okay, so this begins with the negation. Yeah, again from the perspective of thoroughly realized emptiness. Yeah. So it's the negation of the first turning of the Dharma wheel. The Four Noble Truths. Again, Four Noble Truths, not a good translation. There is nothing noble about suffering. There is nothing noble about ignorance. This was a translation, okay, of the term Arya. Arya refers to the people who have realized, the ultimate nature, emptiness, directly. Yeah, so they're among spiritual practitioners, they could be considered noble because they are more advanced. But you can't say suffering is noble and the cause of suffering, ignorance, is noble. So saying the Four Noble Truths is not a good, it's very misleading. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, because people could really develop all sorts of wrong ideas. Some people feel when they suffer, oh, I'm being very noble. Yeah, look how I am suffering. Totally stoic. Inside, yeah, outside. Okay. So this, so it's the negation of the Four Truths, the truth of suffering, its origin, its cessation, and the path leading to its cessation. Thus, meditative practice is negated. Oh, we don't need to meditate. Oh, hey, meditative practice is negated, it's useless. We don't have to do it. I'm just going to sit there and say I'm enlightened, and then I'll be enlightened because, like you just said, if I give myself that term, then I think that way and I become that. Yeah, it's my identity. Cuckoo. Okay. What's negated is the inherent existence of meditative practice. Okay. Yeah. What are you going to identify as being meditative practice? Is it sitting there with your legs crossed? Is that meditative practice? Is closing your eyes meditative practice? How about wiping your mind of all conceptions? Yeah, can you identify what exactly meditative practice is? That, can you identify the essence of meditative practice? Yeah, what are you going to point to? Oh, it brings liberation. Well, lots of people do meditative practice that doesn't bring liberation. It's sitting there peacefully. Yeah, your body can be peaceful and your mind is, off on its latest adventure. Okay, you can't pinpoint what it is. Does it exist conventionally? Yes, and we need to do it. Yeah? Okay. Next, the fruition of this practice is negated. There's no wisdom, no attainment. Yeah, by affirming the emptiness of the subjective experience. Okay, so His Holiness likes to emphasize, that unlike what the Chittamadrans, Yogacaryans do, the prasangikas really negate the emptiness, the true existence of both the object and the subject. Yeah. Okay, finally, even this negation is itself negated. No non-attainment. Okay? So even the resultant state of clarity that arises from the clear penetration into the perfection of wisdom is itself empty of inherent existence. Here, it sounds like the perfection of wisdom is an object, meaning emptiness. Actually, the perfection of wisdom is a consciousness. Okay? Yeah. You don't perfect emptiness. You're perfecting wisdom. Okay. So all of the qualities of the mind, so here, the mind of one who has reached nirvana or attained the supernatural powers of a Buddha, these are empty as well, and as consequently negated here. Okay, now if you have more questions. No? Okay, then we will cease here at nirvana. We're stopping just before nirvana. Oh my goodness. Which kind of nirvana? Yeah, there's 4 kinds of nirvana. Which one are we stopping? Yeah, actually there's more kinds, because there's the nirvana of the Shravakas, of the solitary realizers, of the Buddhas, of the 8th great ground bodhisattvas, of the 9th ground. There's lots of nirvanas. And there's the nirvana without remainder, a natural nirvana, the nirvana with remainder, the non-abiding nirvana. What nirvana are you talking about? Yeah? Okay, so you can't pinpoint nirvana either. Okay, so we will stop before entering nirvana, because we're following the Mahayana path and we are willing to remain in samsara for as long as it takes to liberate all living beings. So we are not entering parinirvana. Okay. Does that mean that Buddhas don't attain the cessation of suffering because they haven't, because they're not in nirvana? No, they have attained nirvana. Yeah. But they've also have the bodhicitta, so they don't do the nirvana of the Shravakas and the solitary realizers. Okay, so next week when I say, what section are we on? You have to remember nirvana, yeah? We want nirvana. And then I'm going to tell you there's no such thing as nirvana. Nirvana is emptiness, empty of inherent existence. Actually, nirvana is a type of emptiness, but there's a big debate about that one. But we're right. Even though you don't understand the object, you don't understand the debate, but if it belongs to your yiksha, then your skull's right. We human beings are really too much. Yeah? The way we think and what we do, motivated by our thoughts and emotions.